used to say to the awliya, not to people, no, she doesn't look at people. She used to be the imam of awliya in her time. Even she was a woman, and she was the ocean whom Rasulullah blessed her, so those all awliya to take from her ocean knowledge, divine knowledge. And like this, all of them, they were in need for her. And she used to scold them to awliya, telling them, as much as you can, return to Allah Almighty, ask tawbah from Allah Almighty. Even you say Astaghfirullah, this coming from your mouth, Astaghfirullah to Allah Almighty, it needs to be followed by another Astaghfirullah for this Astaghfirullah, because it is coming with your evil, with your humanity, and for this you need your Istighfar, needs Istighfar. To say Astaghfirullah, it needs also to repent for this was coming from your mouth, to say for it Astaghfirullah, so that Allah will accept it from you. If awliya like this, how about us, whom we are totally immersed inside all kinds of love of dunya and of wealth and of business, forgetting Allah Almighty, forgetting Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, only all our intention how to get prosperous life, prosperous business, prosperous living, and no one is thinking how to get prosperous life of akhirah, prosperous life in the after day of judgment, to have prosperous life after death. No one is interested except few whom Allah Almighty is sending hidayah and guidance to their hearts and choosing them to be in His line, in the line, in the way of Allah Almighty, way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, way of awliya, as you are, all of you here, mashallah, all of you following Mawlana Shaykh Adnan, awliyaullah, and waiting all of you for the appearance of Sahibul Zaman, Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam, only waiting, this waiting of you is enough for you, that Allah Almighty will change you from badness to goodness, and to send you to good end. All your worshipping, all your prayers, all your fasting, all your zikr is not going to save you. What is going to save you is the shafa'ah of Rasulullah, the mercies of Rasulullah, and the mercy and forgiveness of Allah Almighty. The one who is depending on the shafa'ah of Rasulullah, he will be saved. The one who is depending on his worshipping or in his, that he is a very good one, or he is a good deputy of Mawlana, or his followers, or a murid, or a shaykh, or he has spirituality, this will not make you to be saved at all in between the hands of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What will make you to be saved only to be so humble enough to always show humbleness to Allah Almighty and to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And how to show humbleness to Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, Mawlana says, teaching us, is to show humbleness for the creation, for all the ones of the nation of Rasulullah, everyone, woman or man, to be so humble to them, then your humbleness to Allah Almighty. Even to be humble for the creation of Allah Almighty, for animals, for everything to be humble, then your humbleness goes to Allah Almighty and to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if you have no humbleness in your heart and seeing yourself something so important, then never you will reach to be one whom Allah will open for you divine knowledge or making your heart to be a house for Allah Almighty. It's not something easy to get this Makkam. It's not something easy to be an awliya to Allah Almighty. Allah Almighty saying everyone he thinks that he is something important, only wishing that he is something important. This is what Shaitan decorating to him. But really not. Allah saying the one who is the one whom he is to be awliya to me, who is the one to be a sincere friend to me. Inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum, the most respected and honored in my divine presence is the most whom is dressed by taqwa and humbleness and seeing nothing, seeing himself as if a son, and everyone is better than him. All his intention is love of Allah Almighty, love of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Taking off from his heart all love of dunya, all love of desire, all love of following shaitan, all everything which make him to disobey Allah Almighty, to take it from his heart and from himself, only to be in the way of Allah Almighty. And for this awliyaullah, especially Sultan of Awliya Mawlana Shaykh Adnan, is to seize the one and to drive him, to make him to walk in the right way and under his eyes, so that he will reach to be in this divine presence of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, to be accepted by Allah Almighty and Rasulullah. Without the guidance of Mawlana, don't think anyone else than Mawlana, between all 124,000 awliya, whom Allah Almighty sending them in every period of time, in every century, in every period of time, Allah sending 124,000 awliya according to the number of prophets. Every awliya is presenting the secret of one of 124,000 prophets, and Allah sending them in between people to serve them, to carry from them all their burdens, to carry the nation of Rasulullah, and to present them to the divine presence of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah. Even all these awliya, how much they have miracles, how much they have extraordinary power, how much they can read whatever going in your mind or in your heart without seeing you also. They are living, even though all of them, they are in need to Sultan of Awliya, who represents the spirituality of Rasulullah and the divine secret of field of Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who is nowadays Mawlana Shaykh Adnan Kabbani. If all awliya crowded to benefit you, never they can benefit you. Unless they will connect you with Mawlana, then Mawlana must connect you with Sayyidina Abu Bakr As-Siddiq, and Sayyidina Abu Bakr will connect you with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. No one has authorization to connect anyone to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam except Mawlana Shaykh Adnan Allah Ta'ala darajati daiman wa amantan. He is the one authorized from Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to connect everyone and to serve everyone, to be always under the blessing and forgiveness and mercy of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah. Even awliyaullah, they are in need of him, and for this Allah Almighty giving him a title as a Sultan of Awliya. Sultan of Awliya means whom all awliya, they are in need for him. Not people, ordinary or common people. Common people, any one of the awliya is enough for them. But for awliya, who will take care for awliya, who will connect awliya to Rasulullah and to Allah Almighty, the one who represents Rasulullah Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the time, which means the owner of the time. صاحب الوسط. He is the one who can connect awliyaullah. He is the one to dress all mankind by the will of Allah Almighty, by the will of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the one to make what Allah programming for mankind to be running in every one of us. Like this, the Sultan of Awliya, the one who represents Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is the real one, and he is the one and only one who was authorized by Allah Almighty to be the Lord and in charge of all creations of Allah Almighty. Malaika, human being, mankind, jinn, animals, land, oceans, rivers, all they are in need for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to make the program of Allah Almighty in every one of them to run in him and to get by life from Allah Almighty. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his time he used to have Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Ali, and some of the Sahaba, not all of them, to assist him. He was choosing them to be ministers for him. And then after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam choosing to be by all his reality in the divine presence of Allah Almighty, serving us, from us, all children of Adam and his nation, then he appointed successors for these Sahaba to assist him to Yawm al-Qiyamah. And for this Rasulullah appointing, according to the number of Sahaba, 124,000 Sahaba, between men and women. And for this, the awliya in every period of time, 124,000. Anyone passed away, could be Allah will order to be appointed, to be placed by a one who has this divinely promised from Allah Almighty in the day of promise. Awliya Allah, they didn't gave wilaya or given wilaya in this life. Anbiya Allah, prophets, they were not given life of prophecy in this life. All of them, before they were appearing in their physical bodies, before coming to Dunya, already in the divine presence of Allah Almighty from pre-eternal, Allah choosing them between all children of Adam alayhi salam and blessing them by lives of prophecy or by lives of wilayah. They are ones like, for example, now the government wants to make a network for electricity. They will make either underground or up. They put too much columns, and then they make the wires to be connected from one to another, from one to another. Then in every 100 or 50 columns there is one which has a big transformer station to give power to the other wires. From this transformer will go to another 50 or 100 columns, then another transformer, and like this until all they will be connected with the main station. And the main station is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And these columns and these wires, they are the awliya whom they are giving and supporting and sponsoring the light from Allah Almighty to run in everyone. Then in between every number of columns, there is a one who will be by himself as a substation to give power for the other awliya and to give supportation to mankind, to nation of Rasulullah, to human beings. And these awliya are chosen by Allah Almighty before they were dressed by their bodies, physical body, or coming to this life. Allah choosing them there. And Allah chooses also for every awliya of them whom will follow him. Whom of the nation was Allah Almighty promising to be as one following this awliya. And for one Shaykh, Allah Almighty choosing in between the nation, the most chosen one, the VIP from between the children of Adam alayhi salam, to follow grand Shaykhs, to follow the sultans of awliya, successor of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And for this you see the numbers following the grand Shaykhs of Naqshbandi way or Siddiqi way, they are in limits. Not big numbers or huge numbers, because they are the one whom already they have the godly luck from Allah Almighty to be chosen following these big awliyaullah, the line of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Because Allah Almighty saying, I am choosing for you, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a way. And this way, anyone is progressing and making his best to walk in this way. I am opening all my doors and my gates, all the doors of 99 names of divine attributes until he reached to my divine essence. Like this, and I am appointing you, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to be the Imam, the Shaykh. You represent me, the Lord who represent me in this way. And you will lead my people to me. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepting, and he told Allah Almighty, I see how much Rasulullah is humble, so humble enough, not like other ulama or people or ones whom they see themselves so important and have nothing except ignorance. Rasulullah said, Ya Allah, I am so weak servant, I am not able to take all by myself. Put assistance for me, someone to assist me. And then Allah Almighty created from the remainder of the elements and the soul, spirituality, the light of the soul of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the remainder of this dough and from the remainder of the elements of Rasulullah, from the remainder of the light of the soul of Rasulullah, he kept Allah Almighty one tiny drop, and Allah created from it Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And all grand Shaykhs whom the successor of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq to Yawm al-Qiyamah, and for this to Allah Almighty, or successors of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq already named and known. No need to wait to know who is the successor of this awliya or that awliya. They were all grand Shaykhs. They were not interest or worried whom will succeed and be successor for them already. It is programmed by the will of Allah Almighty, whom was created from this tiny drop of the remainder of the soul, lights of the soul of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the light of the spiritual body of Rasulullah to be taking over and blessing the secrets and realities from the heart of Rasulullah to Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and from Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq to every Siddiq in every period of time after Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq till the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And nowadays the one who represents this is Mawlana Shaykh Adnan Kabbani. And from also he asked Allah Almighty to have also successors from the physical body of Rasulullah, and Allah Almighty from the elements of Rasulullah, from the light of the physical body of Rasulullah, from the remainder of this dough which Allah Almighty created, the body, physical body of Rasulullah. Allah created Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu and all imams of 40 ways, like Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jailani, Sayyidina Ahmad al-Rifai, Sayyidina Imam al-Shadili, Sayyidina Ahmad al-Badawi, Sayyidina Tijani, Sayyidina al-Jazuli, Sayyidina Abu al-Abbas al-Mursi, Sayyidina Bishr al-Hafi, Sayyidina al-Hallaj, and all these imams of Sayyidina Muhyiddin ibn al-Arabi, all these imams of 40 ways already appointed before they come to this physical life as awliya and successors of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu wa qallam Allah wajhah today of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And these the ones either from side of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and they are the sultans of awliya, and either from the side of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, and they are also sultans of awliya of their land. They are the ones carrying the ummah, helping Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, carrying the ummah to day of judgment, and they are the ones in day of judgment to be the lawyers of every of the nation and all children of Adam alayhi salam, to make them to be safe from Jahannam and to enter to Jannah. And Allah appointing them to be lawyers, and Allah appointing a big the head of these all lawyers, Yawm al-Qiyamah, who will be on the right hand of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, defending everyone of children, even defending for Malaika, for Jinn, even for Shaitan and Shayateen. The one, Allah appointing him to be the lawyer and letting him by a godly knowledge so that he can save all of them from the angerness of Allah Almighty and bless them by shafa'ah of Rasulullah. And this lawyer from three eternal, one is Allah Almighty appearing the divinely godly word of life, Muhammad Rasulullah, Allah Almighty appearing the heart of this world, who was grand Shaykh Mawlana Shaykh Abdullah ibn al-Thani, and he is the lawyer of this court. And he says, all what I am blessed, I am blessing to my son Mawlana Shaykh Nazim Allah Ta'ala. And Allah Almighty promising Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as I said, I am going to send you as a physical body, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This I am telling you a story from the eternal. Now we are coming to this life. I will first send you as a physical body in your time, or if my will to be deferred, then no more prophets, or they will be assistants and following you, they will be nation for you also. But if my will to be sent by the end of the time, so that I will not keep you too much underground to Yawm al-Qiyamah, as other prophets thousands of years, no, you will be only few seconds underground, then you will be coming up to my divinely presence by your physical body, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And like this, Allah Almighty, when He sent Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by His physical body, and blessing him by all means of power, that he was representing the godly power of Allah Almighty, even though he was not seeing himself except he is in need to have ones to help him. He didn't say, I am beloved, saying, I am beloved of children of Adam, and no proud. He made humbleness that Allah Almighty give me helpers, so that he will share with this godly power was grant to him, to whom Allah Almighty already chosen them to be created from his life of Rasulullah and from his physical body. And like this, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was blessed by all these means of oceans and eternal knowledge, that the knowledge, Allah Almighty told them, it is my sunnah, in my tradition, tradition, that everyone cannot reach to me except with a guidance to guide him. Even you, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whom you are the representing me and you are the guidance for all creation in the night of Mi'raj, he told them, you need to have a guidance to guide you in this night in the Mi'raj to my divine request. He was not, Sayyidina Rasulullah Mawlana say, he was not like Iblis, Shaitan, saying, no, I don't accept. I am better than everyone. Why to appoint only one to guide me? I am guiding everyone. So he said, yeah, as you like. Oh Allah Almighty, I am nothing. I am a weak servant. I am so weak. I am nothing. Oh Allah Almighty, bless me by more and more knowledge and keep me always under obeying you, not to miss to obey you. Always to be obeying you, Allah Almighty, and fulfilling whatever you order me to do. I am appointing for you as Rasulullah was choosing when Allah Almighty was blessing him by the revelation as an atom of the light of the divinely godly word of light of Allah Almighty into eternal before any creation to appear. Then Rasulullah was choosing in between the lights of Allah Almighty in his ocean. Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam, Allah created him. Sayyidina Jibreel was created from the light of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It shows him, Rasulullah choosing him to descend the wahi, the revelation on his physical body when he will appear. And Allah Almighty say, as you like my beloved Muhammad, I am going to dress Jibreel and to complete him and perfect him in between all the malaika, and for your sake he is going to be the messenger of me for all the prophets, and he will descend the revelation from Lawh to your physical body. And like this Rasulullah, in this life Allah Almighty told him, now your guidance to heaven is going to be Jibreel, as you choose. And Rasulullah didn't say, I choose him, I'm better than him. No, he said, as you like, oh Allah Almighty. Jibreel, who will appoint? I am accepting. Because the tradition of Allah Almighty, no one to reach to Allah Almighty without a guidance to guide him. And Allah Almighty mentioning this in the Holy Quran, فَيَهْدِ اللَّهُ فَهُوَ الْمُهْتَدِ وَمَنْ يُضْلِلْ فَلَنْ تَجِدَ لَهُ وَلِيًّا مُرْشِدًا. The one whom Allah Almighty can guidance for him, hidayah, Allah will appoint for him an awliya, a waliyan murshida, an awliya. And not enough to be a wali, but he must be a wali murshid, to be a one, a guidance whom already ascend and reach to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah guide him to reach to Allah Almighty, and Allah Almighty blessing him to be a sincere servant to him and sending him back to bring people to him. And like this must Allah will appoint a one to lead the one whom Allah choosing him to send hidayah and guidance to him. And the one whom Allah Almighty doesn't send guidance and hidayah, he will be then missing the way and no one to guide him to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to Allah Almighty. And Allah Almighty promised Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the night journey that I am going, as now I am descending the holy ayat on you, I am going, ya my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to again send you again in between your nation for an appointed time at the end of the time, where there you will reveal the secrets of the Holy Quran. You will reveal the secrets of the ayat. You will reveal the secrets of the letters. You will reveal the secrets of oceans, of divinely knowledge, divinely secrets, divinely realities, divinely attributes, divinely godly knowledge to all your nation whom they are alive or whom they passed away. And you plant this in their hearts, and by this light all of them, they will be welcome to be in the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, of the judgment. They will come to me. And for this Allah Almighty saying, إِنَّ الَّذِي فَرَضَ عَلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنَ لَرَادُّكَ إِلَى مَعَانٍ. The one who descends on you in the Holy Quran is going to return you for an appointed time to give the The spiritual body of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be how you see the sun, like this. Everyone will see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And anyone who is going to kiss the hand of Rasulullah, right hand of Rasulullah, or whatever Rasulullah, blessed by knowledge and maqam from Allah Almighty, will be blessed to that one who is kissing the hand of Rasulullah and seeing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And all grand sheikhs, Sahaba, Prophets, all whom they left this life as the shaheed, Allah Almighty will make them to be again following Rasulullah and appearing with Rasulullah spiritually until the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And the one who will invite everyone for kissing the hand of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Sultan of Awliya, Mawlana Shaykh Adnan Kabbani. He is the one who, the day of promise, is that the promise to ask one of the kutub called Sayyidina Yunus al-Thani to arrange the people as a queue for kissing the white hand of Rasulullah, so Rasulullah will not be bothered by people, and for the ones, followers whom they are real ones, not everyone say I am a murid or follower to Mawlana or I make bay'ah with Mawlana and a follower. No. The real one whom Allah Almighty, He created them from the remainder of the life and the soul and atom of Mawlana Shaykh Adnan, they are the one really whom they are real murid and siddiq in this time. And this will be the one first to kiss the white hand of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then after them it will go to all whom they are alive in time of Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam. And like this is the last service of Mawlana Shaykh Adnan Kabbani to all his murids and to the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, blessing them by the Ridwanullah al-Akbar and Ridwan Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam al-Akbar. Allah pleased from them and Rasulullah will be pleased from them and will be blessed by all means of divine knowledge, eternal knowledge, godly knowledge. All Maqams blessed to Rasulullah will be blessed to all of them. Until all of them at that time they will look like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Same face, same shape, same life, all of that. And from them then it will be to all the nations spreading this knowledge from their hearts to the hearts of everyone until all this knowledge will be covering all mankind in time of Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam and Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And like this in front of us is going to come big events and big wars and big fitan and miseries and suffering. The one who wants to be protected, Allah to protect, because Allah Almighty already named the one whom are going to be protected, and all their name is given from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to one Shaykh Mawlana Shaykh Adnan to Sahibul Zaman Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam, and is responsible for every drop of blood. If any one of them anything happened to him. And like this Allah Almighty making all whom to be protected to be under the protection of 5 types of awliya and Budala, Nujaba, Nuqaba, Awtad, Akhyar, and 1 type of Malaika of protection and 1 type of Jinn, Mu'min Jinn, whom is also protecting a part of the nation of Rasulullah, whom their name Allah Almighty already mentioned it to Sayyidina al-Mahdi to be under the protection of Allah Almighty. And these they are going to remain, will be living till time of Mahdi. And all others, they are going to be finished by this coming events and war. And Allah Almighty informing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Rasulullah informing Mawlana to tell to ordination, and especially to his murids and followers, that Allah Almighty saying, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَأَنْتَ فِيهِمْ وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ مُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. Allah Almighty will not going to punish them while you are in between them. And Allah Almighty is not going to punish them if you left them, not anymore in between them physically. Allah is going not to punish them if they keep repenting and saying Astaghfirullah. And so Mawlana say, Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sahib al-Zaman, Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam, promising him that everyone who every day of his followers and anyone of the nation who follows this advice, 24 hours, make 3 shahada, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and on the niyyah intention to be protected, he says 300 times, Astaghfirullah, 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 until the end of 300, Astaghfirullah, Azim, Alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayy al-qayyum wa atubu ilayh. From his belief, during making this practicing, Allah will protect, Allah will create for him 2 malaika to protect him in the 24 hours. Because this practice will work only, it is valid for 24 hours. Allah will create malaika from his breathing for 24 hours to protect him from all kinds of punishment or arrows coming from heaven, or arrows and misfortune and misery coming from earth also, and supplying him by a special air from Jannah that he will breathing from it, no need to breathe from the atomic wind which is going to be spread all over the earth. And like this, they will be protected. The one who missed to do it in the 24 hours, then no more malaika of protection will be blessing. And Mawlana say, I'm not that responsible. And like this, Awliyaullah Azza wa Jal, they are trying always to make their best to save everyone from the punishment of Allah Almighty, and to make them, all of them, in the ocean of safety of Allah Almighty and mercy and blessing and forgiveness. Allah Almighty didn't create us to be punished. Allah doesn't like to punish anyone. Allah doesn't like to burn anyone in hell or fire. Allah so mercy that Allah Almighty giving oceans of the Rahmaniyatul Rahman and the Rahimiyatul Rahim, the mercies of oceans of Rahman and Rahim. The most merciful ocean was led to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Allah Almighty, and Allah Almighty was telling him all these oceans of my names of Al-Rahman and Al-Rahim, which blessed to you, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is like one tiny drop from my endless oceans of mercies, just touched by a needle. If you put a needle press it in the water, put it in the water, what will come on it? A drop. More less than a tiny drop. Like this, all these oceans which I am blessing you from the name of Al-Rahman and Al-Rahim, for all creation, will cover them, is not nothing like a small tiny drop on a needle from my ocean, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And all prophets, 124,000 prophets, and all awliya and sahaba, and all worshippers, and all mu'mins, and all fathers and mothers, whom they have mercy in their hearts, all of them, they are swimming and rest by the ocean of mercy from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which it looks like only like a tiny drop on a needle from the ocean of mercies of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like this, Allah Almighty blessing to all from His oceans of mercies, and Rasulullah covering all of them only by a drop, tiny drop, to cover all prophets, all Sahaba, all Awliya, all his nation, all nations, fathers, mothers, whom they have mercy in their hearts for their sons and daughters and grandchildren. It is all like a tiny drop from the ocean of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the rest of the ocean is to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also Rasulullah like a tiny drop from the oceans of Allah Almighty, and all the oceans then to Allah Almighty. And Allah will open it Yawm al-Qiyamah to mercy everyone. Allah Almighty not creating them to be done. Allah so full of mercies to mercy everyone. But what is the problem? That we are refusing to be mercy from Allah Almighty. We are refusing Allah to mercy us and to forgive us. We are challenging Allah Almighty. We are making every badness challenging Allah Almighty. You are God, we are God also. You are Allah, we are also existing. We are going to disobey. We want to obey our ego, ourselves. We want to have good life, prosperous life. We want to entertain this life, our desire, full our bodies, which what you create around us from this decoration life. And Allah Almighty advising them, don't think like this. You are nothing. If I want, I will erase you. I will finish you. Be careful. Don't challenge me. I am Allah Almighty. Don't be stubborn, my people. Then you are going to be blamed. Then you blame yourself by yourself, because you are going to be ashamed in my divine presence. Be careful. No. We know what you are doing. No need for you teaching. And you are. I am going to give you free will and to create a new power to follow any way you like. This way or that way, right way or wrong way, I am appointing on the right way the Imam of this way to be my beloved seal of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also I am appointing an Imam for the wrong way to be Iblis, Shaitan, the Imam of that way. Either follow Rasulullah, either follow Shaitan. There is no in between. There is no third way. Either with Allah Almighty, following Rasulullah, or with Shaitan, following Shaitan. Then Allah Almighty, and the one who will follow Shaitan, he is going to be ashamed from himself. And he is going to be blaming himself. Not I am going to blame him. He is going to be blaming himself. Because my paradise is, Allah Almighty saying, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are so pure and so cannot tolerate any, cannot carry any waste, even less than a tiny of an atom, which cannot be seen by the eyes of mankind, the paradises cannot tolerate. If anyone coming with a less than a tiny atom of a badness in his heart, cannot be entered into Jannah. I must clean himself. And for this reason, not to come to me with any kind of badness, to come to me pure and sanctified and well pure, that they can enter to Jannah. Otherwise, I am going to wash them. I have a washing machine, because anyone whom his dress is the clothes is dirty, what he will do? He will throw them, or he will take them to the washing machine. He will wash them. This Allah gives this to us. We have a little mind so that we wash our dresses. Allah Almighty doesn't have mind to wash the dress of his people, mankind, whom they wasted their dress so that to enter them to Jannah. Also he told them, I have washing machine. They want to dress themselves and color themselves by dirtiness, by badness, until they will be totally wasted. Okay, as they like. I have washing machine in the Akhirah. Before entering to Jannah, I will wash them, clean them, dress them by the washed, clean machine. Also, he will iron them. And very nice, handsome, I will dress them and enter them to Jannah. But the problem that the washing machine of Allah Almighty is the seven Jahannam. This is the washing machine. And this is problem. And how about us now? How we are challenging Allah Almighty, and we are not making any giving any importance that there is seven Jahannam washing machine to wash us before to enter to Jannah, to all creation. So that the one who wants to be not washed, he must wash himself in this life. And for this Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam keeping awliya to Yawm al-Qiyamah and telling Allah Almighty in the Holy Quran, O mu'mins, O believers, be aware from Allah Almighty, be frightened from Allah Almighty, not to commit badness, even to have any tiny atom or less of badness, and be with a truth one. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصديقين. O mu'min, dress by taqwa and be with Siddiq, with Salih, with a truth one, because he has power. I'm dressing him and Rasulullah dressing him to wash you in this life, before you will reach to day of judgment, and there you are going to be washed by my washing machine. The washing machine of this truth was much more easier for you than my washing machine at the end. And be with them. But what we are saying, every one of children of Adam alayhi salam, وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأ أول مرة من كل خلق عليم. And Allah Almighty saying in the Holy Quran that Allah Almighty, I created you and I blessed you from my soul, just blessing you from my soul and making you to appear in your physical body. Then every one of you, blessing the soul, seeing himself to be an enemy to me, to make himself beside me, a God like me, because he is feeling that he is so powerful now. He has mind, he has heart, he has soul, he has free will. Khasimun Mubin. He is a well enemy to me. He is challenging me and giving enmity towards me. And I blessed him by all these goodness. Instead to say sugar, he is coming to be enemy for me. And I am Allah Almighty. If I want, I will send a small virus on him. I will send a something on him. It will make then him to suffer all his life. Why to challenge me? Be always good servant to me. Be always obeying me. I will bless you by prosperity and take off all suffering and sickness and badness from you. But if you will challenge me, then look what is going to come on your head in this life, in grave, and then in the day of judgment, going to washing machine of Allah Almighty to be washed, and then to be ironed also. How much the iron, especially the iron of Allah Almighty, not like the iron of this dunya, even it is vaporized, vapor coming from it, but it is very difficult iron. When he will iron you, then you will know to say, Amanna billahi wa rasul, we believe and we have faith in you, Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There's an advice from the station of Mawlana to all of you and to me also. I am also listening as you are listening. My intention to give another kind of type of sohbah At the station of Mawlana, my heart was, he was talking, offering this, so that I will get benefit, and all of you, you are hearing as I am hearing, and the one who do according to what's coming from his station, no need then to tell me I have sickness, or I am suffering, or I have badness, or I am not feeling successful life, or I am like this or like that, because they all love of dunya, love of prosperity, love of everything else than Allah Almighty and Rasulullah from your heart, and try your best to dress your heart by the love of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, by obeying also them and awliyaullah, then you will be only prosperity and happiness and successful life blessed to you from Allah Almighty. May Allah Almighty forgive us and mercy us. No one there in his life, no one of us must say once in his life, I am a shaykh, I am a worshipper, I am a zakir, I am a zakirat, I am praying, I am a hajji, I am like this, I am like that. Allah Almighty says, don't give yourself titles, you are nothing. I am the one to give titles. If I dress you, you will be something. If I don't dress you, you will be nothing. And the best Allah to dress a one to be no more existing, only to be existing by Allah Almighty. No more to be any more appealing, but only Allah Almighty appearing in him. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah, 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 Azim, Allah, 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 Kareem, Allah, 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 Subhan Allah, 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 Sultan Allah, Sultan Allah Almighty, and the weakest servant, forgive us, Allah Almighty. We are repenting to you, asking over, Allah. Forgive us, mercy us, make us sincere servants to you, bless us by love to you, Allah Almighty, by obeying you, Allah Almighty, bless us by love to Rasulullah, by obeying Rasulullah, make us sincere ummah to Rasulullah, sincere nation to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and make us sincere servants to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For Allah Almighty, bless us by love to Mawlana Shaykh Adnan, to Grand Shaykh and to Awliya, and make us to obey them and to be following their teaching and their line, and respecting them and respecting all their murid. And O Allah Almighty, bless us by sincerity to them, and make us, Allah Almighty, to reach of time of Sahibul Zaman, Sayyidina Mahdi alayhi salam, and to be sincere followers to him and obeying him. And bless us by light of Iman, light of Islam, light of Ihsan, O Allah Almighty. Bless us by the light of the Holy Quran and by the light of the secrets of the Holy Quran. Make our hearts to be houses for you, O Allah Almighty. And may you guys steadily and you throne in our hearts. O Allah Almighty, we are saying Astaghfirullah, 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 Al-Azim, Alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayy al-qayyum, wa atubu ilayh. Bless us by protection, O Allah Almighty, and protect us, and protect our families, and protect everyone whom following Mawlana, Awliyaullah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you Allah Almighty. Bless all by protection and keep them in the safe life to reach safely to you Allah Almighty and Rasulullah. Muhammad al-Hamid, Muhammad al-Fatih. Now when I am translating from the station, this eye must be closed. These eyes must be open. The chest, the heart, heart. One finish, close the station, then this will be closed. Because I'm not talking to you from our mind or from the matter. So we are talking from place to translation of Mawlana, and every Makkam we are mentioning, Mawlana in this Makkam transmitting the life, all what's going on this Makkam, and for this, these eyes cannot anymore be open on the eyes of the heart, so that everyone will be blessed by this Makkam and die. Now we want to see what is the time now. Before we must go to
2:35. Yes, I did. 4 o'clock we go to the Shaykh Adnan Kabbani.
Now how much is time?
2:35, sir.
2:35.
35.
And then 1 hour.
Yes, sir.
They can rest now. Pray after now. After 3:45. Inshallah, I'll try to come pray after. Probably we'll go now. Visit and make the visit and that. Assalamu alaikum. Now everyone can physically, you can go